AM, its staff, management, or parent company, iHeartMedia Incorporated.
Welcome to the Bartow Ford Real Animals Radio Show, your weekly voyage into Florida fishing. Presented by Hubbard's Marina, hosted by Captain Mike Anderson and Captain Dylan Hubbard.
Good morning, Tampa Bay. Captain Dylan Hubbard here for the Bartow Ford Real Animals Radio Show on beautiful 970 WFLA. And we are talking fishing this morning with our good friends, Captain Travis Thompson of All Florida and Captain Bobby Woodard of Fly 'em High Charters. And we are talking all things inshore, nearshore, and offshore fishing. Talking a little bit about the weather, what's going on now, what's coming up, and hopefully hearing from you as well. Remember, you can call to join the conversation, 1-800-969-9352. If you have questions, fishing reports, just want to say hello, call us and join the show. Also, we're going to be talking a little bit about what's coming up as far as what we hopefully have you vote yes to on Amendment 2, right?
You got that right.
Yes,
sure.
Sir. So a lot of stuff going on right now as far as the fishing goes, with Hurricane Debbie moving by, shaking things up, stirring up the waters, dumping some stuff as well. So we have a lot to talk about there this morning. But first, we always like to start off talking about the weather. And as far as the weather looks, it looks finally like the wind's going to calm down a little bit. This west wind pattern should hopefully relent a little bit as we move into the work week, which will be a nice change of pace for our humidity levels. It has been extremely steamy outside and extremely hot, because not only do we have the normal summertime temperatures, but that west wind brings with it more humidity off the Gulf, which has made things a little oppressive as of late.
Showers don't take right now.
Yeah.
Like you get a shower and it's like, why did I do that?
My problem that I get frustrated with is, like, you're sitting inside in the office talking to clients, and then you walk outside to the boat and your glasses are fogged up, your phone's fogged up. I mean, you can't see anything. It's crazy. It is extremely steamy out there right now, but that should break a little bit this week. It's not going to get any cooler, but at least that humidity should break a little bit for us as that west wind pattern, onshore wind pattern dies off. Also, it is going to be a lot more calm, a lot less windy, and kids are going back to school. It is that time of year where the schools are starting back up locally, which means we have extremely lighter loads. So a lot of good opportunities if you perhaps don't have kids, or maybe you're the type that lets your kids skip a day or two here and there to go fishing. This is a great time to do it because we still have red snapper season open for our federally permitted for-hire boats, and there is lots of good fishing still going on. Still some late season. I shouldn't say late season. Bobby always gets upset, but there's still quite a few tarpon around.
Absolutely.
A lot of tarpon around, big sharks. Inshore fishing-wise, we've been seeing quite a few redfish. This storm definitely made inshore waters more murky, but redfish seem to do well in that murkier water. I would imagine they're probably going to be getting schooled up pretty heavily on this next full moon in a week and a half or so as they move up into the bay, right?
Yeah, might be a bit early for what I traditionally do. It's more of a kind of like a September, October-ish kind of thing. But, they'll start heading up there.
It seems like there's already been some pretty big groups found, and it seems like hopefully this injection of a lot of fresh water, which Mike always says brings them up into the bay, hopefully I think it should maybe coagulate them a little bit more.
Yeah.
I feel like I mispronounced that too, but.
Yeah, I don't know what you said, but I onomatopoetically, it sounded right.
Yeah.
Like it was, I'm there.
I'm for it.
How many syllables was that?
Yeah.
Regardless, the red fishing should be pretty good. And then also the snook bite has been really good around the passes and on the beaches, but this water has just made it really tough to find them because it's so dirty. We can't see the bottom in the shrimp tank.
Oh, wow.
That's crazy.
Like 2 foot of water.
This is the time of year when I would always switch to going, like when I was running fishing charters, I would do a lot of evening charters this time of year because you could just beat the heat some and you get out and fish from 9 to 1 or something like that.
Yeah. It's definitely a lot more.
It made the fish easier to find. Yep. You catch a lot of fish. Did you catch big ones? You could switch tactics and catch big ones, but you just wanted to touch a lot of fish. This was the time of year to do some nice stuff.
Dock-light fishing now is killer.
Especially around this new moon.
Yep.
Definitely.
Let me ask you something about dock-light fishing. like, I always grew up dock light fishing Charlotte Harbor.
Right.
Like, I fished some Tampa Bay, but, like, primarily Charlotte Harbor.
There's no lights down there anymore. Hurricane Ian took them out.
They're all gone?
Yeah.
So,
liar.
In Charlotte Harbor, we never saw little tarpon on lights.
Yeah.
And I know there were a couple lights in Tampa where I found little tarpon on lights. I was in the Keys a couple weeks ago, and there were little tarpon on every light. And I was like
trout.
They're almost like trout or snook down there are in Charlotte Harbor. And I was just like, am I missing that on Tampa? Like, has that changed over the years? Or?
I think there's certain areas that you get the little tarpon on lights, but I mean, Captain Dave Parmalu would probably be the expert to ask.
The mad snooker.
Yeah, the nighttime fishing expert. And he's talked about it before on some of the call-ins that he has dock lights that catch a lot of those micro tarpon. For me, in our area, I always found those micro tarpon in those like ponds.
That's
like the golf course ponds.
That's where we find them down
ponds,
south.
Creeks.
Like,
you know,
you go way back up in a creek, you push through a canal, and it opens up a little bit, and you'll find them back there.
Yeah.
But you didn't ever find them concentrated around lights. And I was like, I've done it before up here. I've never done it in Charlotte Harbor. I have not found them in Charlotte Harbor like that. And
I fished a lot of dock lights growing up, but it was always locally around Johns Pass and like Bogosiega Bay. So I feel like if you found them around dock lights, they would be farther up in the bay.
Gotcha.
I would imagine.
Okay.
That would be my guess.
I have a dock that may or may not be in Charlotte County, and it has giant snook on it traditionally, but it also has big tarpon.
Really?
And that's where we're
I don't believe that, Bobby. You're going to need to prove that to us.
GPS coordinates.
Yeah,
Or
we're sitting there
show
snook
us
fishing.
that.
We're snook fishing, hoping we don't catch a tarpon, or hook a tarpon. Because
You sound silly when you say things like that.
Game over, you know. I mean, we lose enough of the snook, let alone hooking a 100-pound tarpon underneath the
Tarpon
dock.
guide.
Yeah, you go
Hoping he
snook
doesn't
fishing
catch a tarpon.
and hope you don't catch a tarpon.
Yeah.
Based on what I know about you, that's not true.
It's true. It's true of this dock.
Interesting. But all that to say, the weather is looking really good, and finally, some good opportunities to get offshore. The offshore bite has been really good. We've been able to get out there. We got out there right before Hurricane Debbie came. Probably a little too close to it. We came in Sunday morning as Debbie approached, and it was a little bit of a nautical ride in, and the bite shut down a little earlier than expected. But behind Debbie, we got out there Tuesday as soon as the wind calmed down a little bit. And that trip was actually really good, and the bite was really strong. Last night, we had a 12-hour night out there, and they crushed the mangroves despite bumpier conditions. We have a 39-hour out right now, and they had a really good night bite. So I would imagine that offshore fishing this weekend and through this week should be really strong with this nicer weather. Seas calming down, things getting back to a little bit of normal. And remember, that weather update was brought to you by our friends at Reese Windows and Doors. They are Florida's leading window and door company with over 50 years in business. They offer free installation on most windows and doors, and they install in just 6 weeks. They only use in-house installers, no freelance contractors, and their work comes with a double lifetime warranty, which means you never pay for a warranty. And when you sell your house, that warranty transfers to the new owner, adding value to your home. Visit reesewindows.com for more information. So, great weather, great fishing, not a lot of people out there. That's kind of the trend we're seeing. And I know you mentioned, and Mike has been mentioning, how tarpon seemingly, like, people forget about them towards the end of season.
And it's awesome.
Yeah, and now there's a lot more flexibility, a lot more room on the water. You're still running some trips for them?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or does your demand fall off?
Quote unquote peak season for demand wise is slowing down. But the fishing is actually getting better. Some of those late season trips, I think Travis will attest to this. Some of those late season trips,
late season. He said it.
Moving forward from here, into September, October, both here and down south, up in the bay, and then up in the harbor, and then we even get a late season push of fish moving down the beach, south down the beach, when that fall bait. When that fall bait gets on the beach, you can go out and catch, mackerel, kingfish, tarpon, bonita, I mean, everything without even pretty much trying. Just find the bait schools and, get a bait in the water.
Yeah, we've been having a lot of our Shell Key ferry leaves and goes down the beach to Shell Key and then comes back up the beach to Johns Pass. So we spend 2 or 3 hours a day cruising the beach. And it's almost every trip now, guests are sending in photos of people landing tarpon along the beach.
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive.
When you go to the harbor and you go up harbor and you start chasing those fish, like down south, like the best tarpon days I've ever had were September.
Yeah.
Like September just, I'm talking like you may jump 30 plus fish.
Wow.
Like crazy tarpon days.
That's awesome.
You need to go with somebody that knows what they're doing.
Those days, I think, are a little over. Unless you just happen to everything lines up right.
Oh, those days didn't happen every day, but I'm saying like this time of year,
that's a trophy.
I never did that in May.
Yeah,
for real.
I never did that in May.
Just because you have less pressure on the fish.
Less pressure, and they're just, I don't know.
I think they're concentrated when you find them.
Yeah, that's the thing. You got to find them. Like
if you can find them, they're concentrated better, and they're kind of dumb.
Spooky.
Yeah, the pre-spawn season, for the most part, especially with the volume of trips you're running, like. You're much better of a pattern, and you can, for the most part, drive to the fish and start fishing.
Pre-spawn is like April,
like
April, May,
March, April, May into June. Okay. For the most part, you drive straight to the fish and start fishing. If they're not there, you go to the spot B, and they're there. What we're talking about now, like the later season stuff, like you got to look for them. Like one day they're here, the next day they're there, the next day they're there.
That's why I said you would honestly, you could hire a guide though and have a real special day this time of year. Because again, like when I was guiding the beach, if you flew 10 tarpon in a day, it was a monster day.
Oh, that's a good day.
It's a monster day for me. Like especially on the beach, you're clear water.
Talking about a 6-hour trip, generally.
Yeah, 6-8 hour trip.
That's a lot of fish to jump. I mean,
100%.
You're tricking a spooky fish that's getting pressured on the beach, clear water. Like things got to go right. But man, up the heart, like I don't want to give too much away there, but like you can go find those fish, and man, that's a good time.
Yeah, the thing I tell quote unquote novices about late season tarpon is you got to look for the tarpon versus looking for the boats.
Yes.
Like preseason,
it's not a scallop trip.
Right. I feel like a lot of people just go out and find a group of boats, and they're like, okay, cool, there's the tarpon. And then they come over and join the group, and they start fishing. Late season, like you got to put some effort in. You got to find the fish. Now, there are historical spots to go look. So, based on, learning it over the years, you go look here, then you go look there, then you go look there. And when you find them, they're typically eating. I don't know if it's a whole like getting ready for the fall migration south thing, or
hardhead catfish.
Hey.
There's the tip.
It was
There's the tip, guys.
Hey.
Hardhead catfish.
It was actually funny.
Don't we have a dump button?
Well, we're going to break soon, but there was a funny story on that. Our dock master, real young guy, his fishes hard with his buddies, and I'm overhearing a conversation in passing. He was like, yeah, this guy showed up and he had catfish for bait. We were all making fun of him, and then all of a sudden he caught a huge tarpon. I was laughing so hard. I was like, that guy showed up, you all were making fun of him, and he knew what he was doing, didn't he?
People have called me crazy, and I've told people to try it in other places, and it's worked too. Like,
there you go.
Some guys up Steenhatchee Way, Cedar Key, they're like, man, we got these tarpon, I can't get them to eat anything. I was like, go catch some catfish and put them in there and tell me what happens.
Especially now with all that fresh water and dirty water, I bet the catfish bite is hot.
Oh my gosh. People think, and they have fun catching bait.
Yeah, exactly.
You take clients out and like, okay, we're going to go catch a bunch of catfish for the next hour.
Sounds so much fun. Well, we will be right back. Give us a call if you want to join the conversation. 1-800-969-9352. Real Animals Radio. We'll be right back.
Nah, dude, I've been listening to the show with Mike's on. Mike's like, you go to this flat and do this thing. I'm like, oh, I'm out there now.
Dude, the catfish line of thinking though, and having fun catching catfish. That fishing pole I got my son is so light. It's like a crappie fishing rod. Like actually, the first one was a crappie fishing rod. That one broke. This one's a trout rod, but it's like a freshwater trout rod, so it's like super flimsy.
Yeah.
And it's got a 1000 on it.
Nice.
And dude, fishing a sabiki rig, I made the mistake of putting a bigger sabiki rig on it, like one of those ones with like 20-pound tests. You know? So they were big little sabiki lures, and tipped them with shrimp. And dude, we hooked 3 catfish on one sabiki rig.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and it was like fighting a tarpon. It was so much fun.
That's crazy.
It's awesome.
It's funny, I was texting Josh the other day because we got that. He has that bass fishing spot that you knew right away, and
that was really scary.
That was honestly pretty legit, yeah.
The impressiveness of how quickly I knew where that was.
Yeah, but and all it had was like a house in the background, like
part of a house.
It was a cookie cutter house, like it wasn't even a custom. But anyways, I texted him like, "Yo, it's about getting that time of year, man. Let's go out in the evening." He's like, yeah, let's let it cool off a little bit more. I'm like, okay, well, I got one of my ultralights rigged up with 4-pound test mono. He's like, you're going to go bass fishing with 4-pound test mono? I'm like,
That'd
dude.
be a good time.
That's always what I do.
Like, I don't care if I lose them. Like, I mean, last time we went, between the two of us, we hooked like 85 bass or whatever. Like, I don't care if I lose a couple.
I always use 8-pound braid with 4 8-pound mono on top of it with those Senko worms.
Yeah, I just have a rig straight mono, like no braid or anything. Just just spooled up with straight 4-pound mono.
That'd probably be easier.
I want to take my fly rod too. Like I think that'd be cool.
That would be fun.
I gotta go buy a plaid shirt first though.
Fly rods. Here we go.
I think fly rods would be easy when they're bedded down and you're casting towards like a static spot. But it might be hard.
I can't remember what the 3 things I've always said. I know that for me, like dock light tarpon.
Yeah.
I think flies are the best way to catch them. Like, or maybe micro tarpon in general, because you can get you can get like a little like glass minnow type fly, and really match usually what they're trying to feed on, or a little shrimp or whatever. Yeah. And the other place that I think flies are like just hard to beat is bluegill. Like if you get bluegill or something like in lily
like
pads,
little poppers
or even a little sinking like spider type deal.
Yeah, something looks like a grass shrimp.
That's what you're talking about.
That's the sailfish.
Classic.
Yeah,
it's a monster.
Something that looks like a little grass shrimp, for those panfish.
12-hour night snapper. Got a catch and release trophy.
That's cool.
Had some big grins in that picture.
Yeah, I saw a video of I think it was southeast or southwest Florida, where it was inshore, like really shallow, like 6 inches of water, and there's this little 8-inch sailfish darting around.
Really?
Yeah, like up in the bay.
That's cool.
I forget where it was, but I was like, whoa.
Have you ever gone to netted, like done a staple netting?
Like the CMAP thing where they're netting the year 0 and year 1 fish? No.
I want to do that.
They do that only on research vessels, I thought.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm talking like the seine netting, like inshore. Like, where
I used to have one.
You did?
Okay. I may or may not still have one.
They say they stumble across sailfish doing that.
Yeah.
Like the little...
I've never caught one, but I used to do it all the time. We had a saltwater tank, and when I was real young, we would go out and we would go to the island, and we would seine net quite a bit. We'd catch baby permit, baby pompano, baby snook, trout. Cool. I never got redfish, but a lot of small mangroves. One time I caught a gag grouper that was probably like 3/4 of an inch long.
Wow.
And brought it home. I was like, this is so cool. Dude, within like a matter of months, that thing grew to like 6 inches.
Really?
And ate everything, destroyed my thing.
I had a bass do that. I had like a 110-gallon freshwater tank when I was in high school, and we lived on a lake, and I cast netted and got a little bass, and I started feeding the minnows. That joker got huge quick.
Yeah.
We're back, Bartow, for Real Animals Radio Show this morning, talking fishing, answering questions, and hopefully hearing from you as well. Remember, 1-800-969-9352 if you want to join the conversation. We've got Captain Travis Thompson from All Florida and Captain Bobby Woodard from Fly 'em High Charters as well. And want to give a shout out to our friends at Affordable Roofing Systems. Whether you need a shingle, metal, tile, or flat roof, check out our friends at Affordable Roofing Systems. They are your safest choice for repairs or replacements. With over 3 decades of roofing experience, let Affordable Roofing Systems guide you through this important process. They are defined by integrity, respect, and honesty, and they have a personalized and professional approach to doing business. Call 888-397-ROOF for your free estimate or visit them online at affordableroofingflorida.com. With that, we've got Alan from St. Pete on the line. How you doing this morning, Alan?
What's up, Alan?
Morning, gentlemen. Good to see everybody up and about this morning.
Yes, sir. How are you doing, speaking of world class?
I'm living the dream, man. I'm vertical and ventilated. Everything's good.
Vertical and ventilated. I like that. I'm going to have to steal that one. How's fishing been for you?
I've been a little apprehensive about putting the boat in the water just till things clear up. It's a lot of junk up where I fish in the Upper Bay. It's a lot of junk still floating around. So, but I've been noticing a lot of vehicles parked around the spillways.
Oh, I bet.
Off the lake that goes into Tampa Bay where I live. And so I've been getting the itch. But the other night, a couple weeks ago, we were talking about old school lures and the stuff from our childhood, and I invested in some of those purple crankbaits, and I ordered some those Comet minnows from MEPS, and they came in. And of course, I got you a shirt. I remember.
Oh yeah.
Did you get him the squirrel shirt?
He did.
I did.
Outstanding.
I got one myself.
Yeah, he sent it to me. I was laughing so hard.
I carry a little collapsible rod underneath the back seat of the car. Little telescoping rod, cheapo, and
right next to the rifle.
And I had that in the car, and I was at a shopping mall that had a big retention pond, and I said, this looks like the place. So I tied one on, and I just started nailing Mayan cichlids.
Oh, cool!
Big Mayan cichlids, and so that just took me back to my childhood. That was a lot of fun.
On the MEPS?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
That is cool.
Yeah, they were crushing it. It was great. And then I saw somewhere online the other day where somebody's using Mayan cichlids for snook bait, and I never thought about that. So I said I might just go catch a couple of those and go toss them up by the outflow canal from.
Can neither confirm nor deny that would work.
Yeah, I've used tilapia before.
Wow, that's like catfish for tarpon.
Something new to try.
Oh.
And, hey.
Judging by Travis's face, I feel like he's tried it before.
I'm not sure the legality as I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to say whether that works.
For entertainment purposes only.
I bet that would work for entertainment purposes only.
Don't know about the legality, but
superfluous.
It's only illegal if you get caught.
No, Bobby.
Well, that's a very good point, and we don't catch the smart ones. So.
He's a cop, right?
Great.
This is almost borderline entrapment at this point.
It's only potentially illegal if you get caught.
That is a good one. So what's up, Alan? You had a question?
I think we got we kind of have a mutual acquaintance. My wife's cousin is Luke Hilgeman, who's the CEO of Teddy Roosevelt, International Order Teddy Roosevelt.
Good friend of mine.
It's a weird circle of life, but he's been telling me there's so many states that have a 2A type thing on their ballot this fall. So it's really he's just like on a whirlwind tour across the country promoting it in every state that's got it on the ballot. So it's kind of cool that everybody's on board with this nationwide.
We will be the 24th state to pass it, but how many states have it active right now? Do you know, Travis?
So I know that Luke and IOTR are working in Ohio, South Dakota. There's one more. And so our state's a little bit different in that we have a legislative session every year. Those other states, like some of them, they meet every other year, or they have like split sessions or something. So it's not on the ballot in those other states right now, but they're working to get it on the next election ballot in those states.
Awesome. We are up against the clock, though, Alan. Do you have anything else you wanted to mention?
No, just have a great day, guys. Stay safe.
Thanks, Alan.
Thanks, you as well, buddy.
Vote yes on 2.
Mayan cichlids for snook bait is Alan's secret weapon. That was a good call there. Definitely a good piece of information. We got more on the other side coming as well. If you want to join the conversation, 1-800-969-9352. Real Animals. We'll be right back.
Wait, so is your boy really a cop?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Here's my question on that. Theoretically, you catch some Mayan cichlids.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to release them. You're supposed to destroy because they're invasive.
So
if you put it on a hook, are you reintroducing it to the system? I don't know. Maybe they don't care. Like maybe it's like because
a good question.
I also know they're not going to write if you don't want to kill a fish. They're not going to write you a ticket. I don't think.
I think for like things like lionfish, you can get a ticket.
Really?
I know they made it to where if you're spearfishing and you pass one, that it's a ticket, like a ticketable event. Really? I don't know how you enforce that.
Yeah.
But
so what if you hook a Mayan cichlid and you just don't reel it in?
Well, and
you leave it out there, and then a snook eats it.
I can't imagine it being. I mean, because it's a net zero change to the system, right? I caught this fish here. I hooked him on another hook and put him back in there.
Right.
If he tore off or something, like the system is exactly like it was. I don't know. It's not like you're getting rid of the Mayan cichlids at this point.
Right.
And I'm a purist. Like I would like for it to be all natural, but
so completely different, but same topic of enforcement. I had an old boss who was fishing down the Everglades years ago, and I think that's when it was like 2 snook per person. Him and his twin brother were snook fishing.
Sorry. I just thought of yesterday. I was at the gym, and this guy who works there walked up to me. He was like, I was listening to you. You were talking about snook, but aren't they out of season right now? And I was like, I think they are. Honestly, I don't follow the snook seasons very closely, but most people catch and release them. He was like, oh, really? I think they're really good eating. I used to work at this restaurant down in Pasadena a few years ago, and the chef would always walk out back and spear a snook and then cook it for the crew. I was like, wait, what?
Glad he's worried about the season.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, you can't spearfish for snook. Yeah. And he was like, oh, really? And then he was just kind of like backed away from me.
So they're anchored up in the backcountry of the Glades. Got 4 snook in the cooler, 2 per person. All right. And a female FWC officer comes up. And I think she had a national parks lady or officer with her. Anyways, checks the cooler. It says, okay, you have to quit snook fishing. And they're like, thanks, but actually, no, we don't. And she's like, yeah, you have your limit. Your limit's in the cooler. And they're like, cool, awesome, thank you. There's this thing called catch and release. Like, we don't have to stop fishing for them. And they get this big giant argument back and forth. She writes them a ticket, which they later fought and, got out of, obviously. But so then his twin brother starts getting pissy after they get the ticket. He's like, all right, fine. You know what? We're not snook fishing anymore. We're fishing for damn sharks. It's not our fault the snooks. It just goes off on her. So it's just kind of funny from an enforcement standpoint of
like. For entertainment purposes only. We do not condone putting trash fish or invasive fish back into systems, but I'll guarantee you a monster snook would hammer
absolutely
invasive cichlid.
Yeah,
guaranteed.
Yeah, especially like in those areas, like in those ponds and spillways and.
I think bluegill are illegal to use as bait in Florida.
Are they?
But in other states, I've used bluegill to catch big catfish.
Yeah,
like 40, 50, 60 pound catfish. Like you use a hand-sized bluegill as bait.
Wow.
So because we do have
I think catching like a 60-pound catfish would be so cool.
It's like reeling a cinder block up.
Oh, really? They don't fight? Really?
I mean, they fight a little bit, but they don't like run or anything like that. I mean, really? It's neat.
No, it would be neat either way, but I'm surprised to hear that. I would figure that they would fight really hard.
They're not like a channel cat or saltwater cat.
My dad was with his dad when his dad caught like a 70-something pounder by a dam in Tennessee. So I don't know how like you move water and dam and.
I thought John was talking to us.
We're talking about early voting.
Ron from Ron's Tackle Box is on the line.
Awesome.
So we have a disclaimer, so I can say this.
Mm-hmm.
The absolute best live bait for bass ever known to mankind, right?
Goldfish.
100%.
That's not
100%.
Why would that not be
huge illegal?
Like you will be under the jail.
Yeah, like.
Oh, because you're introducing.
But here, let me take this bait-looking fish, make it the brightest possible color I can find, and put it in an environment where it doesn't go and watch it like flounder around. It works.
So if that's illegal, then using a Mayan cichlid for bait would be illegal too.
Because you're introducing fish, right?
But you're introducing an illegal.
Well, the theory
at that point because it's already there.
The theory we were talking about was you caught it, like you didn't bring Mayan cichlids to this place. You fish with your bread balls for 5 minutes, and then you.
Yeah, but I mean, if you can't hook a goldfish and cast it out, you shouldn't be able to hook a Mayan cichlid.
Kind of where that's why I asked about the legality.
I think we need to call the cop back and ask him.
That's like one of those things where it depends on who pulls you over, right?
Yes.
And their interpretation.
The interpretation. Yes.
Someone in the comments.
It also depends on if you're an ass to the cop or not, probably. Like, it's the whole.
Someone said out of season fish tastes better.
Really?
No.
Oh, this show.
Somebody said horizontal and inebriated. Which feed are you on? I'm just changing between them.
Yeah.
The feed is always weird. Because the comments don't load like right away. Like you gotta refresh it and stuff. Like there's like a out of season. There it is. Out of season fish tastes better.
It's crazy. Captain Mike said world-class crew right there.
Yeah.
I think he's got a game this morning.
Does he?
Yeah, he told me last weekend, and I just totally forgot.
If I ever have a Saturday that, like, I'm allowed to do something other than build something, I should, like, grab a cooler of beer and go watch one of his games.
It would be fun to watch.
Wouldn't it?
Dylan Hubbard.
We're back. Bartow Forward Real Animals Radio on News Radio 970 WFLA. Home game fishing this morning with Captain Travis Thompson from All Florida and Captain Bobby Woodard from Fly 'em High Charters. Want to give a shout out to our friends at Relentless Perpetual Edge Knives. If you haven't checked them out yet, you're missing out. They are the world's first self-sharpening knife that sharpens as it cuts. Ultra-hard carbide, never rust titanium blade with true grit glass reinforced ABS handle on a knife that is perfectly balanced and comes in 5 great models to choose from. Take the work out of filleting a pile of fish today to get a Relentless knife. Go to relentlessknivesusa.com and find out for yourself why this is a knife all the pros are talking about. When you say never rust, I'm always kind of critical, like, kind of, how's that possible? But, dude, these things never rust.
Really?
It's nuts.
I have not used one yet. I've handled them at both ICAST and at the Outdoor Expo.
Yeah.
And they're veteran owned.
Yeah.
Like the guy is such a nice guy.
Truck for you.
Like he's such a nice guy that runs the company, and they're supporters of YesOn too.
Yes.
So I'm adding that in now.
The knife they gave us, one of the original knives they gave us, I've always heard the never rust thing, and I was like, oh, okay, cool, yeah. And didn't think twice about it, right? But they sent a film crew to film a commercial. And so they were like, oh, let's look at some of the knives that you guys have. And I grabbed the one that's been sitting by the bait station now for like almost a year. Like it's been a long time. And it's sitting by the bait station. It's used multiple times a day throughout the whole year cutting bait. And it had blood on it, had scales on it. It was pretty gnarly looking. Definitely had been through the paces. Definitely got 5 years worth of use in a year, right? But dude, not a speck of rust.
Yeah,
I was impressed.
Wow.
Yeah, the one I have, I've been very impressed.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Huh?
Really impressive. But we've got Ron from Ron's Tackle Box on the line.
Imperial Polk County.
Yeah, speaking of impressive, what's going on, Ron? How are you this morning?
Doing good. Just trying to survive the heat.
Yeah, I'm outnumbered now. There's 3 Polk County voices
in the house.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey, Ron, how you doing, buddy?
Doing great. Fishing's real good here. In between the rain and the heat, a lot of kids around here really fished hard this last week because they have school next week, and did real well on Lake Alfred.
Really?
Right on the fishing pier. Did 6-pounder, 8-pounder. It's like, you know, these little kids are 7, 8 years old, and they're coming in here saying, look at this fish I caught.
Wow.
That's the best.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Nothing better.
They have a great time down here, and we have a lot of running water. We're not flooded, thank God. A lot of people are unfortunate that they are. It's terrible, but out here we have running water in the canals, running water just about everywhere, so it's real good to fish around them culverts and inlets.
That's awesome.
I'm familiar with some of those culverts and inlets running around as a high schooler down there. I remember when you get high water and get that water moving, the bite would get crazy good.
Absolutely.
It is. Big bluegill, shellcracker.
Channel cats. You catch some channel cats in there?
A lot of cats, yes.
Are you eating a channel cat that you catch out of something like Lake Alfred, Ron?
Oh, sure.
Yeah. All right.
Not a problem. These lakes are very clean.
Nice.
I mean, it's amazing. I think it's because of a lot of movement in the water.
Uh-huh.
So it filters itself. It's really quality water here.
Okay.
In town and in Winter Haven, the whole area.
I love freshwater catfish.
Yeah.
It's good. Really good eating.
Those channel cats are fun to catch, especially when they get up in like those spillways or culverts like he's talking about. You can
That's right.
You can tumble a bait down along the bottom and just you can catch them on artificials.
Have a ball. They'll hit everything.
Some fried catfish. Now I'm hungry.
Hey, well, you don't have time to come and get some. So
Yeah.
that's the problem.
If you're too busy to go fishing, you're just too busy, right, Ron?
What are they biting right now, Ron?
Well, we that booyah royal
There it is.
color. There it is, man.
Are we talking about for catfish?
No, bluegill.
Probably hit 'em. I've had people catch big bluegill and specks on them also.
Really?
Bass fishing with them are great, but a lot of other things are working. A lot of rubber worm fishing, your black and blue colors, really good, darker colors. So it's working well. Panfish, red worms are your best thing for them.
Awesome.
Shellcracker bite good?
Shellcracker is excellent, especially on Lake Rochelle.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
It produces very well.
That's awesome, man. So hot bite, great time to get out there. Just find the moving water is what you're saying? That's the trick?
That's it. Moving water right now is your best bet.
What about, I've always thought this, like if you're fishing a pond, like right now on Tampa Bay, getting up underneath the mangroves and fishing the shade works really well. If you have like an enclosed pond with like a tree overhang, kind of concentrate the fish.
Excellent. Yeah, very good.
You're looking for shade too.
Plus there's insects and stuff. They'll fall out of the tree, frogs, lizards, stuff like that. Like,
all right. So I've always kind of thought that, but I wanted to confirm with the experts.
Absolutely.
That's why the running water is good, because it's washing bugs into the water.
Yep.
And the fish just get into a frenzy. So.
That's right. Bugs, little bait fish stuff.
Concentrates food.
Hear anything from Swoop?
Lake Swoop is excellent.
Okay.
Especially on the fishing pier. You're catching peacock bass there.
Are you kidding?
High-hand cichlids, excellent. That lake is loaded with them.
Wow. Okay.
Is that close to your house?
No, it's right. It's really close to Ron's.
Oh, okay.
Apparently, they put them in there years ago, and they're thriving because they're catching all different sizes of them.
Huh.
Wow.
So, but I talked with
So
the
they're
Fish
spawning.
and Wildlife people, and they said if we have a hard freeze,
They'll
which we
die.
have had years, they'll be gone.
That lake's pretty deep, though. Like, I wonder if they could get deep and maintain a temperature.
It's possible.
Yeah. Well, no hard freezes in our future, unfortunately.
I saw somebody said they would finance a cold front at 30% interest for 5 years right now.
He said hard freeze, and I got real excited. I was like, wait, it's August.
But the peacock bass are hitting red worms.
Really? Okay.
They don't recognize other things. For some reason, apparently, that's what they're used to.
Okay.
All right. There's the secret bait. Red worms, Lake Swoop, fishing pier. Get yourself a peacock bass.
Somebody said be specific a minute ago. There you go. Like, we can't get more specific.
Go to Ron's Tackle Box, get red worms, go
and
to
a
Lake
booyah.
Swoop.
Go ahead and get a booyah while you're there.
Or 4. And
hit
I
the
have
a few
pier.
left today. I sold 6 this morning already. So.
Wow. That's amazing.
They go quick.
We appreciate you, Ron. Thanks for giving us a shout as always.
Thanks, Ron.
Wait, how would someone find you, Ron, before you get off?
I'm at 380 South Lakeshore Way, which is 1792 in Lake Alfred. Phone number 863-956-4990.
Yeah, I actually Googled you. I was heading back from ICAST, and I had a little bit of time, and I was like, how close is he to the interstate? Pretty darn close.
Yeah, he's not far.
Not far.
But traffic got the best of me.
Yep.
By the time I got to him, I was like, oh, screw this. I'm going home. But I'm going to make it out there. Definitely. I want to see it.
Because you could have picked up a booyah.
I know. I did miss out.
Yeah.
He has one.
All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to plan
Bobby bought me one.
We're going to
plan
plan a road trip, and we'll go to Gary's Oyster Bar and Ron's Tackle Box.
I'm about that.
Excellent.
You had me at the food.
Yeah, I didn't say I baited you in there.
We appreciate it, Ron. Thanks for giving us a shout, buddy.
Guys.
Bye, Ron. See you, Ron.
See you, man. Always a pleasure to hear from our freshwater guru, and it's good to hear. Hot bite out there in the Lake Swoop, Lake Alfred area. And there's 554 lakes, is it?
It's a lot.
Like that.
Yeah.
This is not blowing up a spot because I don't think you can get there anymore. But there used to be a canal that ran from, I think, Rochelle to Hamilton.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, it had a water control structure, so you couldn't go through by boat.
That's the one that goes under 27, right?
No, it does. It does not go under 27.
Okay.
It's like kind of northeast Lake Alfred. And anyway, when it would rain like this, they'd open that spillway. And you could park, and like you had to walk through an orange grove. I'm sure it was trespassing, but like in high school, this was the bomb.
When you're a minor.
When it rained, heavy rain for like a couple, like even afternoon thunderstorms for a week, you could go there and just absolutely. I mean, you could catch sunshine bass. I couldn't tell them apart. I think there were little stripers in there, catfish, bass.
I'm sure there's probably peacocks
bluegill.
there now.
I don't know. I never caught peacocks there, but like it was just like a field day, and you could throw like a soft plastic and let it get into that water and let it sink a little bit, like with a little split shot in front of it, and just let it tumble. There were no rocks or anything. It just tumble along the. Oh my gosh!
That's how I caught the biggest bass I've ever caught, which was 13 pounds. It was
whoa.
That's a monster,
dude.
It was when I was working at Grasslands, and it was a rain after a rain.
Is Grasslands a golf course?
Country club. Yeah.
You know,
of course.
You look at this guy, you know it was at a country club.
Why do I even hang around you guys? So, anyways, I did the exact same thing. Culvert.
Were you all dressed up?
Right, water flushing.
Resort attire.
Water flushing underneath the road. Pitched a soft plastic up, hit the concrete wall of the bridge, and just let it drop right into that rushing water. And just let it tumble. And just let that rushing water just move it along.
I'm just picturing this outfit that he's wearing.
Oh, yeah.
Catching a 13-pound bass. Do you have a picture?
Did it have sailboats on it?
You have a picture.
Okay, so I was wearing tennis clothes because I was the assistant tennis pro. Okay.
All white?
No, not all white. We were not an all white club. However, so I'm fighting this fish, right? One of my members is driving by and sees me fishing with the rod bent. She stops, gets out with her camera, takes a picture of it.
And you got fired?
No. Takes a picture of it, and this is like back in the film days. Like develops it, gives me the picture. I've since lost it because it was so long ago. But this fish was massive, bro. Like I'm holding it like horizontal, and it's like jelly rolls, like fat rolls, or like going like through my fingers.
Whoa!
Like,
I've never touched a 13-pound bass.
Dude, it was
that would
giant.
be cool.
That is a huge fish.
Yeah, and I mean I don't know if my scale was calibrated, but I did have like a little scale, so like I hung it and it said 13 pounds. But
either way, like it could be off by a pound, and it's still a monster fish.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
That's pretty cool. Even though you were at the country club. That's hilarious. Oh, too funny. But definitely a good time to get out there and go bass fishing now, apparently.
We cover all the people.
Yeah.
Rednecks.
Yeah.
City St. Pete guys, and then obviously the bougie upper crust.
Yeah. I know. People like talk to me and they think like, oh, you're a fisherman. But no, I'm nothing compared to you Polk County folk. Imperial Polk County guys. You taught me what a cricket trap was.
I'm a chameleon. I'm a country club and a redneck.
Yeah, there you go. He's got a foot in both hands. If you want to join the conversation, give us a shout, 1-800-969-9352. If you have a fishing question, fishing report, or just want to say hello, give us a call. Real Animals will be right back.
That's a good one.
When I was the director of tennis for Winter Haven, that's probably the best compliment anybody's ever given me in my life. I was on the tennis court.
What's the best compliment?
No, listen. So I'm on the tennis court, I don't know, 7 or 8 hours that day, like on the court. And then I was doing some office work, whatever. Then I took a shower and changed clothes because I had to go present at a commission meeting that night.
Yeah.
About a project we had coming up at the tennis courts. And so I take a shower and I'm, change clothes. And as I'm getting ready to leave, my secretary looks at me and she's like, "Man, you clean up nice." And I'm like, "Oh, thanks, whatever, blah, blah, blah." And she's like, "You nervous?" I'm like, "About what?" She's like, "Well, you're about to go, present this, $13 million project to the commission."
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, "Yeah, so what's your point?" She's like, "You're not nervous at all?" I'm like, "No." She's like, "Wow, you're as equally comfortable and confident wearing shorts and flip-flops or tennis shoes and wearing slacks and going to a commission meeting." I'm like, "Yeah, like you just adjust to your surroundings. I mean, like, it is what it is."
You got to do what you got to do.
Yep.
My wife just texted me. She was like, "Hey, can you stop at Publix on the way home and send a grocery list?" And she was like, "Well, how about steak and eggs for breakfast?" Love you when you say things like that. You got me. I'll stop at Publix. Golf courses for bass is better than playing golf. Donald Waverman said. You're not wrong, Donald. You're not wrong.
So if I grew up on the coast versus, Polk County, I would probably have some juvenile trespassing charges. Because I'd be golf course fishing for tarpon and snook.
Yeah.
Where I grew up, I golf course fished for bass.
I golf course fished a little bit, but most of my bass, like when I was growing up, I wanted a boat. My dad was like, "You better get a job." And I got a boat really young, and I always just dock light fished growing up and flats fished growing up. I didn't fish for bass until I was in college.
Yeah.
And I went to school in Orlando, and being landlocked, I was like, well, got to figure something else out. And my roommates were all into fishing too, so they kind of took me under their wings and taught me how to.
Were you a member of Reel Nights?
No, because when I was there, Reel Nights was small, but now it's huge.
Now it's the biggest fishing club in the state.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if that's true. West Palm Fishing Club is huge.
Sorry, the biggest college.
Yeah.
The biggest college club in the state.
I think it's probably one of the biggest college clubs in the country.
Probably. It's.
Yeah.
I mean, Have you gone and spoken at it?
No.
You should do that. It's pretty cool. Like
Yeah.
there'll be 250 kids in there on a Tuesday night.
That's crazy.
They come and they like organize events. Oh, what happened?
What?
Is it still running?
It is on my end.
Maybe mine. Maybe not.
Yeah, it's working over here. Real nice.
Yes, mine. Yeah, I'll give them your name and number. Like I try to go speak there at least once a year.
That's cool.
It is cool.
I need to get back into it. I've taken time off. The whole Bass Pro thing, I was doing that every month and doing a lot of seminars there, and I didn't really speak anywhere else. Because then other people would ask me to speak, and I'd be doing 2 seminars a month. So I just kind of backed out of them all, and now I'm not doing any.
Is that him?
Yeah. He said here we go. So we're next.
By Hubbard's Marina. Now your captains, Mike Anderson and Dylan Hubbard.
We're back, Bartow for Real Animals Radio, talking fishing this morning on News Radio 970 WFLA. Want to make sure we give a shout out to our friends over at Ace Heating and Cooling. For over 20 years now, Ace Heating and Cooling has been the name you can trust in the heating and air conditioning business in Hillsborough County. Chris Myers and his guys service all brands, and they do residential and commercial repairs, maintenance, and full replacements. They send out technicians, not salesmen, because they try to build that long-lasting customer relationship that will hold up over time. Call 813-657-8818 or look them up online at brandonac.net. And find out for yourself why Ace Heating and Cooling are the easy choice for the Real Animals fishing team. With that, we've got our last short segment of the hour before a whole nother hour.
If Anderson were here, he would say, that's a fishy cat.
It's a fishy cat.
Chris Myers is a fishy cat.
Yeah, he is. And he likes hunting, too.
Oh, he's an outdoors cat.
Yeah, exactly. He's got 2 boats. He duck hunts with you, and he goes all over.
He duck hunts, deer hunts, they've gone, like, to Kansas, and, like, they're
That's
legit.
Cool.
They're
That's
legit.
Awesome.
He's a good dude.
I was listening to a podcast, and they were talking about elk hunting and stalking elk with a bow. I was like, man, that sounds really fun.
Really?
Yeah.
You'd be into that?
I think it would be awesome.
They say it's like hunting a big turkey. I've never elk hunted, but yeah, they say it's a lot like hunting a big turkey because there's a call and response game to it. Like you locate them and figure out where they're at and everything else. And
sounds awesome.
I do like to eat a good elk.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of that. I have a lot of clients that bring me elk.
I'm a big fan of eating.
Yeah.
In general.
That's
especially protein.
Elk might be my favorite wild game that you can get.
Yeah. You were telling me about that elk jerky. About that life. Dude, that sounded good.
One of my best, repeat tarpon clients brings like a elk like backstrap or whatever the top loin, the loin or whatever.
The backstrap.
And it's like all like marinated and cooked and then like cut up in like bite size. And he literally just sets the baggie on the console of the boat, on the dash of the boat.
Y'all just eat it all day.
It's just like best boat snack ever.
Elk is hard to eat in a wild game. Like, man, it's really, really good.
Yeah. I've had the jerky before. It's really good. You know what they're opening here in St. Pete for us city folks is Wild Fork. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
So Wild Fork is like I think it's nationwide or maybe just southeast. I don't know, but it's like a butcher shop, but all they sell is like exotic stuff.
So you can buy venison, you can buy elk,
everything.
Like, and it's all farm raised. It's
rabbit,
not,
duck, like, and it's all farm raised from across the state or across the nation, really.
Right.
And they have alligator, they have everything. Any kind of game that you would be able to hunt, they have.
So, City Boy, if you're interested, we could actually help you acquire some of that without having to go buy it at the store.
I'm
would
down.
Love to go alligator hunting.
I'm down.
Yes,
I applied this year. I didn't get pulled, but I applied this year because Travis and I were talking about it.
But Travis, you have a whole alligator hunting operation.
I do.
Yeah,
I do.
Yeah. Alligator hunting, alligator hunting, turkey hunting.
Yep.
You do it all.
Snipe. Do you know what snipe are?
I do know what snipe are.
They're like a little bird. You know, and they are. It's funny. Like people come to us to duck hunt or whatever.
Snipes though.
You have to be a sniper to shoot them. Like
I thought it's with shotguns though, right?
Yeah, but they are like. Everyone says they're like the most challenging bird because when they get up, they twist as they fly, but it looks like they're flying like this, and so it deceives your eyes because they turn so much. They look like they're flying erratically.
So you know how like Maverick like turns to the side to like, avoid the
that's how they fly, and so people are
Did
like.
You just reference Top Gun.
I did,
but the original,
bird hunting. But the original, not the wannabe sequel.
Dude, the sequel was fire.
Oh,
but no, the sequel was pretty legit.
Sniper hard to hit. Sniper hard to hit. People they love to hunt them, and people like to work their dogs on them and stuff. So we do a lot of that kind of stuff. But if I can hunt it, I want to.
Yeah, I would love to.
I just don't have interest in cleaning big game.
Yeah,
like big game, like an alligator. I don't like to clean alligators. So
seems like a lot of work.
It's not really like when you do it, but it's just like it's one of those things that seems daunting in the moment, and it's like you just spend all day, you're hot, you're sweaty. So we work with processors, and we'll take them to a processor and let them do it. Pick it up 2 days later, and it's packaged.
Work smart, not hard. Yeah, it sounds legit.
Costs a few bucks, but it's not. Honestly, it's the way to go.
And for like alligators, especially, there's like a trade like for the hide or something.
Yeah,
I mean, you're still out of pocket a little.
You can trade where you get that. It's kind of neat because people talk about trophy hunting, but like an alligator, you can take the skin, you can take the head as a trophy, and then you get, on a big alligator, 100 pounds of meat, 50 pounds of meat.
The claws are a good trophy too.
Yeah, a lot of people do stuff with the claws. Like you can take the. My son has the first 2 gators he killed. We have the leather all tanned. And
what's the biggest gator you've got?
About 12.
Whoa.
Like I think it was 11-12 or 11-11. So it was right under 12.
When you're hunting for them, eating wise, is it like fish where you don't really want the big one?
I mean, yeah, a good eating gator is anything from 6 to 10 feet. But I'm going to say this and probably upset some folks. All gator is better fried than anything else.
Oh,
unless you're like a chef or something. And so I don't eat a lot of fried food. So you kill a big gator. My son killed one that was
10-foot gator full of fried.
My son killed a
nuggets.
fat 11-footer a couple years ago. I felt like we had to eat gator like once a week, and I couldn't get rid of it. Like I was just giving it away to people because I had so much of it.
Yeah, and you have to tenderize it before you eat it, right?
Well, we don't when we fry it. Like you batter it and fry it. But I mean, I gave some to his mom. Like I was giving it away. I carry it in my truck and give it to people. Like here's 2 pounds of gator.
So you and your son need to go hunting again. That's what I'm hearing.
Well, I'm hearing we need a real animals field trip.
That sounds like
fun. I'm saying we need to
harvest a gator.
We need to do that. I'm just saying we need an FGA trip to Tampa Sporting Place.
Let's do all of this. That sounds awesome.
This is your gator hunting segment of the show.
We've been all over the map, but we are going to talk about Yes on 2 and much more on the other side. Plus, we have a question for you. So hopefully we'll hear from you as well. 1-800-969-9352 to join the conversation. Real Animals Radio. We'll be right back.
FGA board meeting at Tampa Sporting Place.
Dude, I love that place.
I've never been.
Is that Mike Mesra?
Yeah, Mike Mesra. Yeah. My cousin is in town from Japan. He moved over there, married a woman. He's got 2 kids. I haven't seen him in forever, and I just met his kids for the first time. But he was talking about shooting and wanting to go shooting because in Japan they can't own. They can own guns if you have a special permit, but it has to be like a hunting rifle meant for hunting, and you can't keep ammunition in your home.
That sounds horrible.
Yeah, you have your hunting rifle if you have the special permit and you're allowed to get it, but then you have to keep the ammunition for that rifle at the cop shop.
So you have to go down to the armory and sign out your
own ammo that you've purchased.
That sounds absolutely horrible.
Yeah. So long story short, there's no such thing as shooting ranges there. So he wanted to go shooting while he was in town. I was like, dude, how about you go play golf with a gun and go to Tampa Bay Sporting Place? He was like, what? I was like, yeah, they just give you a gun and a golf cart and you go driving around to different stations and you shoot clay pigeons. And he was like, what? He was taken aback. It was so funny. Yeah, so he's supposed to be going over there.
Yeah, I shoot Sporting Place out of Tenor Rock, but I've never been to.
Tenor Rock is the one down south.
No, Tenor Rock's in Lakeland.
It's in Lakeland. It's similar.
There's one south.
But it's not
of the Skyway.
It's not as nice. That's something Hawk, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fish Hawk is close to Brandon.
Fish Hawk. Yeah. Which is south of the Skyway. Right?
Ish.
Geographically, I think it's east of the Skyway. Like
okay, so like
geographically, I think.
So you have Fish Hawk,
Magellan
Rock,
speaking,
and Tampa Bay Sporting Place. Those are the 3 places that you can do that locally.
Oh, I'm sure
there's probably
there's
more.
There's a black something
in
Webster,
like Dade City, Webster, something.
Yeah, the top of 471. Like that place is.
You guys are speaking.
Webster, you don't know where Webster is?
Webster, Florida. I've heard of it before. Like I know it's a city in Florida. I don't know. I couldn't.
Well, city might be a bit of a stretch.
That's closer to you than Lakeland is, probably.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe. I've shot that one before. They have the thing where you go up in the tower, and the clays get thrown around you. Have you seen that? Cool. Where you like spin and shoot. Like, oh, dude, that's. I could spend some money playing that game.
Yeah.
Like that's fun. That's really.
You gotta go to Webster, bro.
Yeah, you need to go to Webster because there's a restaurant there.
Ooh, sounds good.
There's a flea market there as well.
Every Monday.
Yeah. But there are no traffic lights.
Mark Mahoney said Mike Anderson seems to get most of his sleep on Saturday mornings, it seems. Oh, that's funny. The Mahoney family is always good for a laugh. Polk County tennis shoes, Crocs or flip flops? That's funny.
That's
Who has that?
Real.
Paul Brown said that.
So
Mike Elfenbein took mine. Yeah, there it is. He's got his Polk County tennis shoes.
I couldn't find my
He's
flops.
got camouflage Crocs.
I couldn't find my flops this morning.
They make other colors besides camo? Dude, you look like you're ready to head to the blind right now, man. You're olive drab, like dark gray, like your camo Crocs.
Mike Elfenbein took my turn. He said 3 Musketeers.
The feed's a little spicy this morning. People
it is.
Elfenbein's been hitting the trail hard, man.
Oh yeah. He crushes it, man. He crushes it. People understand if it's happening in Florida and in particularly in South Florida, like he's on like Everglades, Big Cypress, South Florida Water Management District, like that dude is crushing it.
Like no cap.
Get out.
But like for real, like I was telling Anna the other day, like even if this thing doesn't happen, like just being involved and like meeting the people, like and like forming those friendships has been like the coolest part. Like obviously, hopefully it passes, and then that's
it's a little warm and fuzzy for a Saturday morning.
I'm just saying, like there's some really, really, really like cool, legit, genuine people involved.
Yeah, for sure. That thing in Tallahassee, when everybody was in the room together, that was really legit.
Yeah. We're doing that again this year.
Everybody that we ran into was so cool.
Yeah, we're doing that again. 100%. Everybody said they're in.
Cool.
So I'd like to add a few more groups to it.
Yeah.
Like grow it.
Mm-hmm.
I think we had 18 groups last year.
Just
It'd be nice
do
to
it as an outdoors advocacy dinner kind of thing.
Well, I've always said, like, used to hunters and anglers were the first at the table, and then we expanded the table to invite environmentalists to the table. Now, environmentalists are primarily the ones at the table. Hunters and anglers are not. So we've got to regain, and that's not a slight at like 6a-8a or AS. Like they are in Tallahassee and in the room often, but like we've got to increase what our footprint looks like in those rooms and reclaim some ground. And that's not to knock down the environmental groups. It's just to say, look, hunting and angling is a significant part of conservation. Like significant, and it needs to be considered at every level. I mean, we've seen some groups come out recently against Yes on 2. Sierra Club came out. Like, you ask why we need it. That's exactly why we need it.
I thought Sierra Club was one of the ones. Oh, Safari Club.
Safari Club
supported it.
Yeah, Safari Club is SCI.
Yep. But Sierra Club, which is not surprising, like Sierra Club.
Yeah, they're pretty.
But it is
some granola eating crunchy.
Yeah, but like, stay out of it. Like, it's not.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Emily's blowing me up.
Welcome to the Bartow Ford Real Animals Radio Show, your weekly voyage into Florida fishing. Presented by Hubbard's Marina, hosted by Captain Mike Anderson and Captain Dylan Hubbard.
Good morning, Tampa Bay. Captain Dylan Hubbard here from Hubbard's Marina with the second hour of this awesome radio show. And got some good friends in the studio this morning. Captain Travis Thompson from All Florida, Captain Bobby Woodard from Climb High Charters. And we are chatting fishing, hunting, bass fishing, a little bit of everything this morning. And want to make sure we give a shout out to our friends over at Affordable Roofing Systems. Whether you need a shingle, metal, tile, or a flat roof, our friends at Affordable Roofing Systems are your safest choice for repairs or replacements. With over 3 decades of roofing experience, let Affordable Roofing Systems guide you through this important process. They are defined by integrity, respect, and honesty, and they have a personalized and professional approach to doing business. Call 888-397-ROOF for your free estimate today, or visit them online at affordableroofingflorida.com.
Legit dudes over there.
Yeah, super nice.
Yep.
They did my roof. They did Big Ben Marshall's roof, and they helped you out, even though they couldn't get down and actually do your roof.
Oh, that's right. They gave you some tips.
Yeah,
and
gave me some great tips, and knew that there was no money in it for them at all.
Awesome people. Good folks. Speaking of good folks, we've got our safe boating tip of the week. Captain Jim Fogle on the line. How are you doing, Captain Jim?
Morning, Captain Jim.
Hey.
I'm great. Good morning, Dylan, Travis, Bobby. You guys sounding good this morning. Good show.
Appreciate you, buddy.
Over the last week or so, we've had several search and rescues by the Coast Guard, and most of all of them were successful because the guys in the boats had a VHF marine radio and or a personal locator beacon. So I can't keep stressing that enough. If you're going offshore, if you're going out at night, you need those instruments. They will get you back. They will help you get out of trouble. We had a fatality last weekend from a fishing boat that was offshore trying to get back in before the storm.
Yeah.
A young man fell off in some pretty deep water in the dark with no life jacket, and sad to say they never found him.
He's a good friend of mine as well. Good friend of John's Pass. He fishes right out of Deer Beach, right out of Don's Dock. Good kid.
Sorry about that. Now, we had a probably a close call last weekend also, where 3 gentlemen who should definitely know more about probably boating and fishing than most of us. I won't give any names out, but they were offshore fishing when one of them decided he was going to go diving by himself, no partner. So he goes down. The other 2 are sitting up in the back deck, either talking or fishing, and they've got their trolling motor on, spot locked over the diver, they think. So they BS for a while, and all of a sudden, one of them says, "Hey, is that trolling motor on?" Guess what? The trolling motor wasn't on anymore. They had drifted away from their single diver.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. Now, thank God, they had either a marker buoy on him
or a track line on their GPS.
Probably. Well, I don't know. I didn't hear anything about that. I'm hoping they did, but they started, they knew roughly where they were, if not exactly, and they started back and they found the marker buoy and they found their diver. So it all ended well, but these are guys that have been fishing here in St. Petersburg for probably 60 years, and it was just one of those things.
So on that note,
how it is.
On that note, Captain Jim Fogle, I got a story for you. I think you'd appreciate this. On TikTok, always some quality comments going on there. We were getting a bunch of hate from this anonymous user, which is always very qualitative. But he was saying, "Oh, you guys are responsible for killing the Gulf. You kill all these fish, and you drop anchor on the ledges, and you destroy all the hard rock, and you're killing the Gulf by anchoring up on all the hard bottom and killing live rock." And I was like, well, do you fish? Do you dive? And he was like, yeah, I'm a spear fisherman, so I only kill select things, and we don't rape the Gulf of Mexico like you guys do, indiscriminately killing everything. And I was like, well, if you're a spear fisherman, you have to throw an anchor too, right? You're anchoring up. He's like, oh, no, we don't anchor. We use a GPS spot lock trolling motor. And I was like, okay, well, I'm done talking, because at this point, you have totally lost credibility if you're jumping in the water off your boat with nothing but a GPS trolling motor and no anchor. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's super scary.
A lot of trust in those things.
Yeah, that trumps my my story. But anyway,
I thought you would get a kick out of it.
Yeah, we didn't lose the guys, and we haven't lost the other guys yet.
Amen.
So let's hope we don't. All right, guys, you guys keep up the show. Glad you don't have any chaperones today. For the Coast Guard Auxiliary in St. Pete, Jim Fogle. Be safe out there.
See you, buddy.
Thanks, Cap.
Always
Jim's
a pleasure.
the best.
Safe boating tip of the week. Always appreciate Captain Jim Fogle for making that possible. And we've also got Donald from Lutz on the line. How are you doing this morning, Donald?
What's up, Donald?
Hey, Donald.
Hey, guys. You guys have this is the A-team here on Saturday morning. The A-team music. I mean, Captain Bobby, Travis, and Dylan. It's like, man.
Anderson's taking a beating, man.
On his own show.
The comments have not been nice.
Hey, that's what happens when you sleep in.
Apparently. Apparently, you open yourself up. How's the kayak fishing been for you?
I haven't been out in a few weeks, because of the weather and stuff. I was out last month up in Crystal River, and after some storms, and that water was just so dark and muddy. It was tough to find any clean water, and I found this oyster bar where only kayaks can get in and throwing on the other side. I catching mangrove snapper. Redfish, that was pretty cool. Even blue claw crabs. Now, I looked at the CC. I took a photo of the blue claw crabs on my measuring device just in case. So when I got back home, I looked it up, and blue claw crabs are a legitimate catch for CCA Star in the conservation division. So
nice.
There you go.
Like, yeah.
What can't you measure? Are we talking about blue crabs?
Yeah.
Blue crabs.
Did Lisa put you up to this, Donald?
No, she did not. But I did message her last week and asked her, hey, and is anybody registered catch a redfish? She goes, nope. 14, she told me, has been recaptured, and not a single registered angler is like, man, so why aren't I getting? I mean, I've been registered every year since the inception. It's like, why can't I find one? I don't get it. I guess God doesn't want me to have a boat.
Yeah, you're doing a lot of good work with your kayak stuff. Like,
you're doing the Lord's work with the kayak. You must stay there.
Bloom where you're planted, Donald.
I'm planning it actually next Saturday. I'm planning a kayak outing. My Dasu club, Donald, and whoever shows up at Safety Harbor Marina, the one that's south of the spa. Because it's free parking and free to launch. So
that's Alan from St. Pete's part of town. Some good fishing up there.
Donald, what's on the menu for that meetup? What are you grilling and cooking that day?
Bobby's deciding if he wants to show up or not.
Yeah, I got just cheeseburgers and hot dogs and fixings to go with that.
Nice.
I think Captain Sergio and Captain George Hastic might show up as well. They talked about coming out, so that would be cool. So awesome. Anybody wants to show up, I mean, even afterwards or whatever, anybody who, paddle boards, fishes, and kayaks can show up. I don't care who shows up. It's, like I said, Donald and whoever shows up. So I'm grilling about 12:45. We meet up about 7 there and fish for 4 or 5 hours, whatever. And I'll start up at 12:45 grilling. The shelter's there, and it's all free. So
awesome, man. Well, we appreciate you, Donald. Thanks for giving us a shout.
absolutely. Hey, you guys take care. Stay safe and tight lines out there. And hopefully we don't get any storms. Oh, and definitely yes on 2. And also yes on 3. And I'll tell you why on 3. It's the marijuana thing. We want to keep the state of Florida state income tax free. So if we get any more tax money from anything, we'll never have a state income tax. So all that tax money from yes on 3 is going to be a big boondoggle. Look at what happened with Colorado, all the money that they got, when they voted it legally.
I like the way you wrap that together and rationalized. I can always get behind lowering taxes. Love it.
Exactly. We'll never have a state income tax.
Hey, Donald, before we let you go, somebody said to tell you to hit the spillway at Alligator Lake.
There it is.
Yes. I have also fished in Alligator Lake for bass fishing, launched my kayak there, and some great bass fishing in that lake, too. And if you get, if you're in that lake and the snook by the spillway on the inside, but yeah, definitely on the outside as well. Absolutely. I appreciate that, Alan.
Yeah, Alan from St. Pete. I told you that was his background.
Yep.
Thanks, Donald. We'll see you, buddy.
See you, Donald.
Always a pleasure to hear from Donald and the Dawsoo Club. But on the note of what he was talking about as far as water quality, water clarity, one interesting thing that came behind Hurricane Debbie, we kind of talked about it pre-Hurricane Debbie last weekend on this show. One of the concerns with these storms can be water quality issues behind the storm. And Hurricane Debbie dumped a ton of rain along the west coast of Florida, and it caused massive amounts of sewage spills across the Tampa Bay region, across southwest Florida, really every big population area, Destin, Tampa Bay, Fort Myers area, Sarasota, just dumped millions of gallons of sewage into the water. And the pollution reports were just widespread. It was an epidemic of how much sewage they dumped. And it really frustrated me. I was outraged and made a post about it. And now I'm outraged about the post because it's crazy. I would say 60 to 80% of the commenters, depending on where it was posted, were saying that I was misplacing my rage and I shouldn't be upset. This happens all the time. And it's not that much sewage in the grand scheme of things. Isn't that crazy?
Asinine.
I call it apathy. Like, we just become...
It's like weaponized apathy.
I guarantee if Mike was here, he'd be stronger than this. But, like,
oh, yeah.
It is...
We needed Mike on this.
We have become sheep so much to the marketing ploys of local politicians.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're sheep to the marketing ploys of national politicians, too. But, like, locally...
The wool is so thick over our eyes. People are literally telling me I'm silly and stupid for being concerned about sewage spills.
And I wrote a post about it and said we care about all these other issues. And I listed them all off, and they're not secret. Like, we talk about all these other issues. Why don't we talk about right to fish and hunt? Because it's not as sexy. Like, it matters to us in this world, but it's not as sexy as talking about abortion or marijuana or whatever the other amendments are.
Yeah.
Similarly, we vote based off the sexiest issues, and that's why look at it. Primaries are August 20th in Florida, and if you're not voting in the primary, I don't know what you're doing with your life, because oftentimes you're going to decide who's going to win the election in the primary.
Yeah,
like we have a lot of overtly Republican districts. Whoever wins those elections is going to end up winning the general election. So, like, show up and decide who that person is, because that's the person that's going to decide policy that affects your state locally. Your county commissioners.
Yeah.
Go do some research on them. Figure that stuff out, man.
And those primaries are the chance to maybe remove an incumbent who is, creating the issues that we're dealing with.
Yeah. So, is it silly to be worried about sewage spills?
No.
Or should we be concerned?
It should be
That's the question.
Top topic locally.
Amen. 1-800-969-9352 if you want to join the conversation. Real Animals Radio. We'll be right back.
Yeah. Got Travis going. Mike was here. He'd be freaking out.
Oh, he'd have veins popping right now.
Yeah, he would. I don't get it.
Literally, someone said, your anger is misplaced. That was the end of their comment. It's like, what? And his logic was, well, the bay is tens of millions of gallons, and they only spilled like 8 million gallons, so what are you upset about? It's like, well, by that logic, Piney Point was no big deal. It was only like 300,000 gallons of sulfur
just 10
water.
years of input in 30 days.
Yeah. I mean, it is asinine to just be so apathetic that you're literally targeting and calling people out and basically villainizing someone for pointing out some really ridiculous pollution.
We talked. I mean, this is only on the stream, but like we've talked. You and I have. Like the economy is most people's number one issue, right? Like we want to buy groceries, we want lower gas prices, stuff like that. But at the end of the day, like, can people not understand how important that is tied to the economy for where we live?
Exactly.
Like the reason people want to move to Florida.
Like to Donald's point, the way we stay tax-free is making sure we have clean water. If we have clean water, more people come here. People come here to go see Disney, the Mickey Mouse, I'm sure, yes. But they're going to go to the beach before or after they hit Disney World. Why would you come to Disney World? You go to Disneyland if you didn't want to see the beach.
This is my opinion. I don't know if this is fact, but in my opinion, it's because we don't have a state income tax and because of all the natural resources we have, from beaches to springs to fishing, hunting, hiking, biking, like all the stuff you can do in Florida. Those are the two reasons people come.
Yeah. It's literally called the Sunshine State.
Yeah.
You don't have sunshine indoors. You know, so that's the reason people come here.
Are people going to want to continue to come here if you continue to impair water because you don't scale up, because you don't have a good business model and it costs too much?
Yeah.
Well, so here's the thing.
And that's what a lot of people said too, is the commenters that actually felt like the sewage was a problem. Others said, well, it costs too much money to fix.
Right. Then you have a bad businss model.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. There's this thing called impact
fees. Fix your budget.
Yeah.
Impact fees.
Well,
like when we're getting the money, what are they doing with it?
Whatchamacallit, Linda Cheney. She commented. She had a really good idea. Like pennies for Pinellas, the penny for Pinellas thing is an added tax on residents, because her thing is it does cost a lot of money to do these sewage treatment plants and to upgrade infrastructure. But what her idea is a fund that is funded by tourism dollars, like an added tourism tax. And you could do that statewide, like even if it's a penny. If it's this, there was 126 million people that visited last year. If each one of those visitors paid a couple pennies, I mean, all of a sudden you have a huge state fund that's directed to two things: removing septic systems and replacing and upgrading sewage infrastructure. Boom. That's a bill that we need to pass next year.
Let's get to work on it.
Yeah. I think after we finish Yes On 2, that's the next one.
That's like, let's get to work on it. I
totally agree, and we should do that. And then when we finish that,
we have Lauren Mello, we have Linda Cheney. There's so many people that can.
We got people running for office like Alyssa Gay, and people like that, like who are just like they're rock stars. If you're listening to Manatee County, like I'm not telling you to vote for, but go research those candidates.
We're telling you to vote for Alyssa Gay.
Like, those people are.
We're not telling you.
I'm just saying, like. People that want to learn.
Chris Scher is running for Pinellas County Commission for Janet Long's seat, and his background is in construction and sewage resilience, and so he's all like that's his platform. It's sewage resilience, so it's pretty cool.
I'm really watching that. Is it Pinellas or is it Hillsborough County where Matt the Welder is running? Have you seen that guy, Matt Taylor, Matt the Welder? He's got like a huge social media following. He's a comedian, but he's like going out and making videos about. Like, one of the things I heard about this storm down south was Cletus McFarland made a video, the race car Garrett.
Yeah.
And he talked about how they built a berm to do development around him, and it's changed how his track holds water now.
Yeah.
And it's materially affected them.
Well, that's how why Sarasota flooded.
Right.
Bartow for Real Animals Radio, talking fishing and all things fishing related. Want to give a shout out to our friends over at Power Pucks. It's the world's first power supply trolling motor quick release bracket. It eliminates the need for an exterior power plug, which can snag lines, corrode easily, or just be an eyesore cluttering up your deck. Go to pwrpux.com and find out for yourself why so many of the pros are making the switch over to Power Pucks. Definitely an interesting conversation prior to the break there about all the sewage that is spilling across the state and whether or not that's an issue. A lot of folks feel that, hey, it's just a little bit of sewage. What can they do? It's when you get so much rain so quickly, how else are we going to handle it other than just dumping it in the bay? And I think all of us around this table, at least in the studio, agree that it is a problem. It should be addressed. And while it might be a difficult problem to grapple with, I think it's silly. So often we hear things, well, yeah, that is what it is. And it's always been done that way, so we're just going to keep doing it that way. It seems to be the definition of insanity, right?
I don't know the truth of this. I'm going to tell you a story that's really quick, but I don't know the truth of this, but like they discovered back in the 80s a hole in the ozone layer, and they started doing all this some scientist said, we got to do something about this. Like, we're going to kill humanity. I don't know if that's true or not, but and so they said, we got to do something about this, and they created awareness around using whatever the bottles were that
aerosol,
that created problems. And now I was reading that the hole in the ozone layer is actually almost gone. Like, so we can do big, crazy things if we will work together, have conversations, band together, and not be sheep that follow whatever we're being told.
Yeah, absolutely. Amen. It's like the whole yes on 2 thing. We got to unite and get that passed.
That's exactly right. Yeah. That's the thing that I'm most focused on right now. But these other issues, like, I believe that's the first one.
Yeah, I think once we finish yes on 2,
it's not the end all be all.
Sewage septic management is a huge deal. I think there'll have to be an implementing bill for yes on 2 that gets run through the Senate. It's like, because when you pass an amendment, you have to like work on how then do you. What are there rules or laws or statutes that are contrary to that amendment that you got to fix? So, like, you got to go clean some stuff up. Man, I think public land access is a big deal that we want to talk about. Like, I just water quality standards. Like, I just think there's a lot of stuff we need to be working on. To me, yes on 2 has been kind of galvanizing for our community in a good way. Yeah. Of like, hey, look, we can do a big thing together. What other big things can we do together? I don't like when people say, "Oh, we can never fix that. That's too hard."
Yeah.
Don't tell me what I can't do.
Well, and that's one of the cool things about
I feel like
Amendment
that's a
2.
challenge.
One of the cool things about Amendment 2 is how it ties into those other things you just mentioned.
It's a jumping off point for all
the
of
public land access, the water quality.
Yep.
Like, it gives us something to hold them, the government, accountable for, of, hey, we now have this right to access this land or this water or whatever. You have to fix it. You have to clean it. You have to protect it. You have to preserve it, because we have a right to be there.
Well, and you mentioned Lauren Mello a minute ago. You mentioned Alyssa Gay a minute ago. Lindsey Cross in St. Pete has been a good friend of ours. Like
Linda Cheney.
Like, there's a lot of people out there that care a lot about this place. Yeah. And they're politicians.
There are good politicians.
Yeah, and I think the vast majority of them, especially the state level, do care. That's why they get into it. They're not making money off of it. They do care.
Yeah, especially at the state level.
And I think a lot of times they have to make concessions to make deals so they can get the thing they care about done. And I recognize that. I understand that.
There is still politics.
There's still politics that have to be played. But where I was going is, I feel like Yes on 2 has put, I'm up there, Trip Ackman from CCA is up there, Martha from ASA is up there a lot in Tallahassee. You're not in Tallahassee a lot.
Martha lives there.
Yeah. But I'm saying, like, literally lives in, but I'm saying, like, this has brought more people into that conversation where they can show up and begin to know those people and have those conversations, which makes a bigger team.
Yes. Into that. We got Chuck from Seffner on the other side, and hopefully we're going to hear from you as well. Join the conversation by calling us at 1-800-969-9352. We hope to hear from you. Real Animals Radio will be right back.
Obviously, the work that yourself and, like you mentioned, Tripp and Martha and everybody who's been involved from the very beginning, not even on Yes on 2, on all of the stuff. Like, obviously, you guys have laid a great foundation, but I do feel to add to what you were just saying, getting Dylan up there and myself, whoever, like these new faces and even these new groups that are now coming into the fold, I feel like it almost validates in the eyes of the people on the other side that we're talking to, all those legislators and whoever. It's like, oh wow, it's not just Tripp up here talking about this. It's not just Travis up here talking about this. Like, it's a bigger issue.
That's exactly it. I met Dylan at a commission meeting 6, 7, 8 years ago. We gravitated towards each other because there's 4 fishermen in the room.
Right.
Like, seriously, that's the world that we live in. And I get it. Most people can't take a day off to go to spend 2 days at a commission meeting, or like, I get that. I really do. But galvanizing
there's emails, there's phone calls, there's
finding an issue like this and galvanizing people around it. Right to Fish and Hunt, galvanizing people around it, shows us what we can do.
Yeah.
And now we have a network and a team that we can say, okay, we've got this water quality thing, or we got this sportsman's thing, or we got this whatever thing. Can we get some team together? And these are some of the hitting points that we want to do. Can we cover ICAST again? Can we get a group in Tallahassee for something? Like, we can move the needle.
Yeah.
I think it shows our team we can move the
Yeah.
needle.
It shows we can be effective.
Yeah.
I played sports growing up, and like, there were certain teams that you didn't believe you could beat. But at the end of the third quarter, if you're tied with them, you're like, dude,
we got shot.
We can beat these guys.
Yeah.
Like, we're not talking about beating politics. We are talking though about why aren't we having more confidence in our team?
Yep.
Dude, the comments got fired up there for a minute too.
Yeah.
And over here by Captain Planet. By the way, if y'all haven't seen Garrett lately, dude is he's like you. Like he's lost like 80 pounds, 100 pounds. I mean, he looks great.
Yeah. It's awesome.
I didn't recognize him.
I saw Mike posted he was down with Betty the other day.
Yeah, he's down there a lot.
Yeah. Hey, if you ever do get over to Ron's, let me know. I'm like 10 minutes away.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, every time I pass by that exit on the interstate, I always try to go in, or always try to pop over there. I always aspire to.
Yeah, we'll meet up for lunch or something.
Yeah.
Take you in the winter here and get some Mamadillos or something.
No, we'll go right there to. He can't eat that stuff.
He can eat
Caligaro's Pizza or something right there in the.
Oh yeah. Like
baby,
like literally across the street from Ron, across the street and up like a half a block from Ron's.
Dude,
the pizza place.
Like the size of this room, maybe.
Wow.
It's like the dude has an Italian accent.
Oh wow.
Like it's all
legit.
Fresh ingredients and stuff.
Yeah.
It is. He has a hot honey pepperoni pizza.
Oh, dude.
Legit. I'm saying,
I'll eat some pizza on that note.
Dude, it'll make you feel feelings.
Make you feel feelings. I'm stealing that for sure.
Yeah. It'll make you feel feelings. Dude, when Emily called out Bobby, I died laughing. Almost laughed out loud on the radio.
By the way,
did Bobby just say no cap sitting there in his camouflage Crocs?
While we're on a break, I have to show. Emily asked me to show you guys her redfish from last weekend.
Is that what you were showing him that you guys were laughing about?
That's her mother-in-law.
I
her
saw
mother-in-law
that.
caught her first tarpon.
Yep, that's super cool.
Nice.
And then Em caught a good redfish. They doubled up.
Hell yeah. They were at RC, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
They were with Captain RC in Southwest Florida, RC Gilliland.
RC's legit, guys.
That's cool.
There's her redfish, and there's my mother-in-law's first tarpon. I can't take my mother-in-law tarpon fishing because she gets seasick. So
she had to do backcountry.
Right, which we don't do really.
Yeah.
Like even in the harbor, like it can get rough out there. Like she can get seasick in a bathtub. So like we primarily backcountry fish for snook, redfish, trout, that kind of stuff. And that's a lie. I don't trout fishing. Anyway,
but we're gonna make catfish fishing. Cool.
They were
they
were red fishing, and RC saw that tarpon roll. He's like, "Oh, we'll catch that sucker," because RC's a tarpon catching machine.
Yeah.
Yeah. If y'all are looking for somebody in the Sarasota area, Captain RC Gillen.
Yeah.
G-Force Charters.
Yeah, Ricky went out with him, and they crushed it.
Did he?
Yeah.
Ricky.
Sure.
Jake went.
Oh, Jake.
I know Jake went with him, and they caught like I
thought Ricky went, but it was
they hooked I think they went 7 for 10 on the beach.
Yeah, something like
Whoa.
That's a day.
That is a day. That's crazy.
Jake called me and he was like, I didn't know big tarpon like fall that hard. I'm like, what are you talking about? How big? He's like, well, I think one of them was almost 100 pounds.
They're called Silver Kings and have built an industry around themselves because they don't fight hard.
Yeah.
That's the draw, bro. Like, you're going to let it go. Like, so it has to have a draw. Like, if you're letting it go, there's got to be another reason to fish for it.
People ask me, like, don't you want to catch a big tarpon? I'm like, no, I don't. If it's over 100 pounds, like, I'm not interested in it for more than about 10 minutes.
Mike said the only reason he'll be fighting a tarpon is if there's a camera around.
Yeah.
He said if there's not a camera around, I'm not fighting a tarpon ever again.
Let somebody else have a turn. How many of these do you want to fight and for how long?
That's like me and amberjack. I will never drop down a bait to target an amberjack ever. Ever.
Goliath grouper?
Yeah.
No thanks.
It's the worst.
Called him.
Now your captains, Mike Anderson and Dylan Hubbard.
Sorry, guys. Just Captain Dylan Hubbard this morning and Captain Travis Thompson from all Florida, Captain Bobby Woodard from Flying By Charters. I feel like we disappoint everybody when you come in and says hosted by Captain Mike Anderson. He's not here.
Apparently sleeping in from what we've been told.
Well, you can't always read. You can't always believe what you read on Facebook, right?
I'm trying to get Mike to invite me in when you're not here so we can make you the punching bag.
There you go.
That's a rarity. That's a rarity.
I know you don't miss.
Show up. No, I mean I did miss recently. It was my wife's birthday, so occasionally it does happen. It is a rarity, though. I tried to. Speaking of, we want to make sure we give a shout out to our friends over at Relentless Perpetual Edge Knives, the world's first self-sharpening knife that sharpens as it cuts. Ultra hard carbide, never rust titanium blade, and true grit glass reinforced ABS handle on a knife that is perfectly balanced and comes in 5 great models to choose from. Take the work out of filleting a pile of fish today and get your Relentless knife. Go to relentlessknivesusa.com and find out for yourself why this is the knife all the pros are talking about. At ICAST, those new knives they have coming out look pretty darn cool, too.
Oh, they're sexy.
Yeah, the hunting knife, the breaking knife.
The sexy.
They got some good ones coming up as well. So lots of good options for sure. We've got Chuck from Sefner who's been holding quite a while for us. Thanks for hanging on there, Chuck. How you doing this morning, buddy? Chuck, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Ah, beautiful, man. Right. What you got for us?
Good morning. I wanted to just comment a little bit about your poop segment. You know, I wanted to let everybody know that some people may feel it's a little winded going into it on a fishing segment, fishing show, that we don't have to discuss these things, but it's very important for people to be educated on it. And I think that's what a lot of it comes down to, is people just don't really know. And ask the people in Paris about it, how it is working out, how poop in the water works out. So, you know, just to sum it all up, poop in the water is not a good thing, and the more education that you could put out there is probably going to be a lot better for everybody.
Well, we appreciate it.
Another thing is, I wanted to ask you guys, as far as fishing goes, that sewage plant that's out there in Clearwater, I never see anybody fishing out there. Does any of you guys go out there to do any fishing? Is there any stories of people catching fish out there where that's at? Because I never see any birds, no bait, nothing like that out there. And then I hear some people going out there to do some fishing, but didn't know if it was a waste of time. And then the last thing I wanted to ask was with you, Dylan, and the guides, are you seeing a lot more people strategically planning their trips now because of the regulations and how hard it is and the pressure on the fishing? Are you seeing trips getting booked up a little bit more, or is there a little bit more of a slack time? That's what I got today.
Great questions. Great questions. As far as the sewage treatment plant in Clearwater, I personally never heard of anybody fishing around it specifically. You guys, Travis, Bobby?
Yeah, I haven't.
Yeah.
No.
I know power plants concentrate kind of fishing effort.
I will say typically sewage treatment plants concentrate birds.
Yeah.
Because they usually those things are, speaking out of term, they're treated sewage that's put in there. It's growing vegetation because of the high nutrient load. So usually you'll end up with like ducks and wading birds and stuff like that in there. But I don't know about fish.
Yeah.
I can imagine certain fish could do well, but.
Chuck, are you talking about the one up there by the airport?
Yeah, the one over off, it's actually on 60 over there, where the Bayway, where it comes across 49th Street over there.
Yeah.
So they're pumping like 150,000 gallons of so-called treated water back in there.
Yeah, I know a little south of there, off the end of the runway by the airport's actually a good late season tarpon spot. But
there you go.
But I don't know about anybody specifically, fishing around the treatment plant.
Okay. Yeah, I never see anybody out there. It's just one of those things. It's a lot of water out there, and people pay to go swimming out there, but I never see them fishing. So I just thought that it'd be a question. I'm always curious about it. I didn't know if it was something that people would go there in the middle of the night or if it was a hot spot at a certain time of the year.
Yeah, not that I'm aware of.
I want to hear your thoughts on his other question though about the bookings changing with regulations.
100% the bookings change with regulations. I think especially offshore, it is 100% strategically planned, and we see a lot of demand concentration around certain species of fish. But also, I think lately it's been kind of an effort to spread that out as much as you can as well. Some recreational fishermen would like everything to be opened at once, right? You hear that conversation a lot. For example, there's 5 major reef fish in the Gulf that have seasons. You have red grouper, gag grouper, amberjack, red snapper, and triggerfish. So those 5 species do have some open and closed. I mean, red grouper's open 6-7 months a year. Triggerfish is open pretty much 8 months a year. But red snapper's only 2 or 3 months. Gags now are super short, 2 weeks. And you've got amberjack that are only about 2 months. So some people want to see them all open at once. So you can go out there and catch a lot of different fish. But then your season would be really short, the amount of time you'd be able to go out there on the water. Whereas other folks want to see that spread out. And that's kind of how it is now, is they're very spread out. There's 1 or 2, maybe 3 open at a time, but they're not all open at once. But that gives you more opportunities to go fishing throughout the year because there's other fish to catch. There's tons of other fish to catch that are open all year. So you can go out there and catch all those fish and then 1 or 2 of these other 5 that have seasons. And it kind of depends on your own personal views. My personal view is I like that just because you have more opportunities to get out in the water. And so many people get wrapped around the axle with, well, I can't keep this fish, I'm not going fishing. And that makes it really, really difficult to try to accommodate everybody and make everybody happy. But it also gives more people the opportunity to get out in the water. I think if you concentrate them too much, you concentrate the effort, and then you have a lot of other issues outside of that with discard mortalities. You have compounded catch rates. There's a lot of systemic problems that it creates for fisheries management and science. So to answer your question, 100% people plan their trips offshore. What about inshore? What do you guys think?
It's the same thing, isn't it?
Yes, but on a much smaller scale, I believe, just because there are so many catch and release fishing, fishermen on the inshore scene. And I believe fishing, anything outdoors, hiking, whatever, is about the experience, not the catch, not the yield, not the kill. Mm-hmm. However, I feel inshore fishermen do have more of that mentality about the experience of let's just go fishing and have fun on the water. Whereas my experience with the limited experience of offshore fishermen that I know in my circle, it's like, hey, let's it's about the box. It's about the box. It's about that, kill shot, that deck kill shot, like it's about the take and the yield. So, I don't know.
I would say we're almost talking like an economics principle. Like you're talking supply and demand.
Yeah, 100%.
So like we see it, I see it a little differently because I so primarily ducks. But even when I was running charters, like snook season, you'd see an uptick. Now I didn't keep snook charters the last 5 years I guided, but you would always see an uptick, people calling that time of year because snook season was open or because, redfish is getting ready to reopen after a long closure or whatever. You would see an uptick I would see an uptick in calls. Yeah. I didn't necessarily run those trips, but I think you're just talking supply and demand.
100%.
Like you and as an inshore guide can only run one trip at a time. On the duck side where we run a bunch or where you're running a bunch, you can accommodate more people. And so we definitely, like when the season opens, like people go crazy, feverish to book it.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head. Supply and demand, I think, is 100% what drives it from an economic standpoint and from just a socioeconomic standpoint. Because red snapper, for example, we have somebody who comes in town from Illinois. The first thing they say is, well, what trip can I catch a red snapper on?
Yep.
Right.
They have no idea what they're talking about. They don't even know what a red snapper is, but that's the fish they know because the supply is so low. It's talked about in Congress.
Exactly. It's
all
on
the
Fox
time.
News or it's on, like, it gets some chatter.
So people, it's a household name, and it's way over overestimated. It's not the best eating fish we catch, but that's a whole different show.
People get crazy about it.
2 hours talking about how they suck. But Good question, though, Chuck.
That's a great question.
Yep.
Appreciate you calling, my friend.
All right, guys.
See you later, Chuck. Definitely some good questions there. Some people talking in the chat about the Skyway petition that's circulating to keep the Skyway fishing pier open. There's been a rumor going around that apparently, potentially, DEP could be, or DOT could be, working to close the Skyway fishing pier. I haven't seen anything, though. I have
not heard that chatter. I mean, I haven't been directly paying attention to that one today, but like,
it seems like you would hear that conversation. Someone at FWC would be reaching out. They would be conversating. Even if it was happening in DEP or DOT, FWC would be consulted. There would be some kind of stakeholder input, I would imagine, right?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
It doesn't make much sense.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of layers to management of the Skyway. This is the first time I've seen this petition.
Structure. It's under RFP by a private business.
It's a DEP managed park.
Yeah.
It's a FWC administered fishing location, and this is a petition to the Manatee County Commissioners, or is it to it's to a bunch of people. It's to Vern Buchanan. It's to a whole bunch of people. So I don't know what to do with this. I'll dig into it a little bit because you very much know, both Dylan and I, Bobby wasn't as involved with the Skyway, but closures are not options.
Right.
Public access to fishing, it doesn't matter if you have $1 million boat and you can go a gajillion miles offshore.
Yeah.
We all start.
Well, we saw that in Boynton Beach when they tried to close that boat ramp to charter fishermen.
Exactly.
FGA flexed the muscle and we got it totally shot down.
Sarasota County as well.
Closures are not an option.
Closures, I'm not going to say that they are not the starting point for sure in the conversation, and there better be some science that's driving that closure.
Amen.
That's science should drive wildlife policy, the end. And if there's not science that's driving a closure, why are we doing it?
Amen to that.
I will die on that hill.
100%.
Yeah, science-driven policy is very important. And to me, there's a big science driver for not dumping a bunch of sewage in the bay. So I'm going to bring that back up. It is crazy the amount of people that said that is totally okay on that Captain Dylan Hubbard Facebook post. It was asinine, but frustrating.
It's frustrating because we live in an age now, too, where everybody social media is perfect for you say anything. Oh, look at this monarch butterfly in my backyard. And that's actually not a monarch butterfly. That's everybody wants to show that they know something cool and flex a little bit.
Well, it's like we talked about on the Sunday morning show last week is Mike Tyson said it best, man. People are just too used to saying whatever they want on social media.
Not getting punched in the face.
Not getting punched in the face.
And because of that social media aspect, like Travis was just saying, they say whatever, because they want to be an authority on the subject. They click send, and then they walk away and never think about that issue, that thought, that comment, that reply ever again.
Have you seen that one meme of, I think it's not a meme, but it's like a little short video. I think it's a TikTok or something where it's the guy in his room and it's like all dark and he's sitting there. He's got like 4 or 5 laptops and he's just like purposefully making really trollish comments on things.
Hey, that dude's a fishing guy in Anna Maria, right?
Yes. It's interesting how people get on social media. It's a sad part of today's society.
The Wild West.
Yeah, for sure. Real Animals Radio will be right back with our last big segment. Hopefully you will stick around.
She doesn't live down south anymore, but she's a longtime Miami resident. She's a python crusher.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, she's a python machine.
Good for her.
I'm
gonna let her deal with all the snake issues.
You don't do snakes, do you, Bob?
I do not do snakes.
I love snakes. I want to go catch some snakes. That looks really cool.
There you go.
That fishing with Garrett guy is awesome.
No, we need to connect you with Ann. Ann does it the right way. She's legit. She's my favorite. And she's a new hunter. She's into turkey hunting now, but she's not. I don't think she's killed a turkey yet. So we gotta solve that problem too. But she's a machine when it comes to. That's Ann.
Okay.
She's the best. I'll wait for her. My buddy.
She was you told me about her before.
Yeah. former art teacher. She still does art. Hunter. Yeah. We did an interview with her on Casablas.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think she said, like, before she caught her first python, she had never seen a python.
Oh, wow.
Like.
Went from 0 to 100 real quick.
Yeah. And then over the years, she was a contractor. I mean, she's still a contractor for FWC, but over the years, like, she was doing a hardcore. She was always, like, one of the top producing contractors in the state.
Yeah.
For captures. She loves the Everglades. There's a lot of people that love the Everglades and do that kind of stuff out of just, it's a labor of love. How can I help? You can go pick up trash because you don't like snakes. I don't mind snakes. I think this is fascinating. I'm going to go to get out.
I would probably do it one time, like, because I would be with people that I would trust that know what they're doing.
Yeah,
Like I wouldn't go out there on my own because I can't tell this snake from that snake.
Are you naturally scared of snakes?
Yes.
Okay.
But I think it stems from not knowing, like, is this one poisonous? Is this one not? How do you handle this one? How do you handle that one? Like, I think it's just a lack of knowledge which creates the fear. So if I'm with other people that I trust, they know what they're doing, then, you know, I think I could probably get over it.
When we do our wrap up, Kelly Lindo asked me if we'd mentioned that there's a fundraiser coming up for Yes on 2 in. She sent me the details.
Yeah, go for it. I got something to mention. You got to do the weather update, and then I'll give you guys both a few minutes to do your own wrap ups.
I'm cool. You can. Hey, off air. Have you mentioned to Dylan yet what you told me about Spotswood? Y'all's conversation.
We're on.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying, like have you mentioned it? Don't like the details, but.
No.
Well, after we're done,
yeah,
I want to hear.
Yeah,
it's all good stuff.
Yeah, really always is. He's always got something. I love that guy. He should be running too.
Yes,
he's gonna run for governor one day. I bet. His dad was commissioner. Didn't he? His dad hold public office.
I don't know if he held office. His dad was one of the most well-respected FWC commissioners of all time.
Yeah, he was my favorite.
Like,
he came up and really
incredible guy.
Like him and Alligator Ron are like the two that.
No,
not even.
No,
they're the two that I know.
We can have that conversation off air too.
Okay.
Captains Mike Anderson and Dylan Hubbard.
Captain Dylan Hubbard here from Hubbard's Marina for the Bartow Ford Real Animals Radio Show on 970 WFLA. Talking fishing this morning with our good friends, Captain Travis Thompson and Captain Bobby Woodard. Want to make sure we give a shout out to our friends at Ace Heating and Cooling. For over 20 years now, Ace Heating and Cooling has been the name you can trust in the heating and air conditioning business in Hillsborough County. Chris Myers and his guys service all brands. They do residential, commercial, and maintenance and full replacements. They send out technicians, not salesmen, because they're trying to build that long-lasting customer relationship that'll hold up over time. Call 813-657-8818 or look them up online at brandonac.net to find out for yourself why Ace Heating and Cooling is the easy choice for the Real Animals Fishing team. With that, we also want to make sure we give you our weather update for the last part of the show. Again, it is excruciatingly hot right now, but that west wind, that onshore flow should be breaking around Tuesday, Wednesday this week, which will help kind of cool off the humidity aspects, the steaminess we've been feeling, which will be a welcomed relief for sure. So looking forward to that. And also, wind is calming down, seas are calming down. It's looking like a great week to get out there on the water, go offshore and capitalize on the last few weeks of our federal for-hire red snapper season. We got triggerfish open now. We're seeing big scamps, mangroves, yellowtails, a lot of pelagic action going on. Sailfish have been pretty prolific, a few cobia, a few blackfin tuna, a lot of action offshore right now. So good time to get out there. Lighter loads now that kids are going back to school as well. Inshore, lots of opportunities there. Redfish is starting to really school up early and should only get better. We got a lot of snook out on the beaches still, and plenty of mangrove snapper action around. Some tarpon action, really heavy. Lots of sharks. So inshore, nearshore, and offshore. Bite is hot. Weather is hot. Good time to get out there for sure. That weather update was brought to you by our friends at Reese Windows and Doors. They're Florida's leading window and door company with over 50 years in business. They offer free installation, and they install in just 6 weeks. They only use in-house installers, no freelance contractors, and they offer a double lifetime warranty, which means you never pay for a warranty, and that warranty transfers when you sell your home, adding value to the home. Visit reesewindows.com for more info on that. Wrapping up here, Travis, you wanted to mention something?
Yeah, the folks from Yes On 2, the political committee, asked us to mention that they're going to have a fundraiser in the Tampa area.
Nice.
On September 12th. There'll be some details coming out, and that's going to be at Shooters World. So we'll share that on all of our social medias. I'm sure you guys have shared it.
You had me at Shooters World.
Right? Like that's right in the sweet spot there. So
yeah, it's September 12th?
September 12th. They're usually like 5:30. Okay. They're usually like early in the afternoon, like 5:30 to 7.
Nice.
So there'll be a flyer and stuff, and we'll be able to share that around. But it's to raise money to make sure that the word gets out on. I mean, obviously, we're all making sure the word gets out on it, but making sure it gets to folks that aren't us.
Yeah. And on that
I will
topic,
definitely be there. That's going to be a good one for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
We need everybody else's help getting the word out too. So.
Yeah, that would be my other part of the wrap up is please. We've talked about it ad nauseum, especially today, and I love that the callers are mentioning it, but please tell your friends, your family. There's a lot of misinformation floating around out there. Dylan, Bobby, a lot of us have worked hard to make sure that that's not accurate. Like the Yes On 2 doesn't affect the net ban. It doesn't affect private property rights. Like it's a really, really safe thing. It's proven. We know the language is good. Make sure that you're telling other people to vote Yes On 2, people that don't hunt or fish, because we need every vote we can get.
Amen.
It's going to be a big election. So
yes,
going to be a big one for sure. Vote Yes On 2. Make sure you're looking up your local politicians and seeing where they fall on these important issues like sewage resilience, like the right to hunt and fish. There's been a lot of supporters out there, so make sure you are doing your research for sure is very, very, very important. Bobby, how would someone find you if they were looking for Captain Bobby?
Captain-Bobby.com or 863-224-1418.
What about you, Travis?
That's your Instagram handle is your phone number?
Listen, dude.
Don't get me started.
We'll have the Instagram talk off
He's
air.
got 2 Instagrams because he can't remember his password.
You can find us at Travis Thompson, at allflaorg, at allflorida.org. And it's that time of year. We're about to open our books in the next week for duck ranching.
At duck ranching.
At duck ranching or duckranching.com. We'll be opening early teal, and then we won't open big duck season until after early teal.
Nice.
Is probably how we'll do it because big duck season will get a little crazy.
It gets crazy fast. Look us up, hubbardsmarina.com. Just look up Hubbard's Marina on social media. Hopefully we'll see you tomorrow night for the live show. If you want a chance to win $1,500 in free stuff, join us every Sunday night at 7:30 p.m. on the Real Animals and Hubbard's Marina Facebook pages. Tomorrow morning we've got Real Animals Sunday. It's kind of okay too, but Saturday's better. But Real Animals Sunday is from 7 to 9 a.m. on 620 WBAE. Don't miss out on that for sure. Hopefully we'll see you next week for another episode of A Real Animal Saturday. Tight lines, y'all. We're out.
The preceding program was paid for by Real Animals Fishing.
An iHeart radio station.
On the mic. Captain-Bobby does work, Angel. The link you shared, I just clicked and it brought up the website, so I don't know.
Maybe funky on your... And Angel, I'll look into the Skyway stuff, by the way.
Yeah. It's not that we haven't looked into it. The Skyway Misfits called me about it, and I did ask them to send me information on who's talking about closing it, where is it being talked about, is there a meeting that I can attend, and I haven't heard back from them on that. Yeah. They just keep sending me the link to the petition. Okay. But I want to see at the root cause, because I feel like our best ability to help will be working behind the scenes, finding out who's talking about closing it, trying to attend those meetings and figure out.
Yeah, or like, is it a conversation we can have politically? Like,
yeah, I feel like it's.
I'll say it this way, like that's a PR nightmare in my mind.
I feel like it's
they close it to some politicians.
What I've heard from them is the concern is from Friends of Pelicans. Friends of Pelicans has been making so much noise and putting so much pressure on DEP and DOT that they're just like, well, we're going to close the pier. And to me, that definitely is a concern, and it's scary. And I'm not saying don't pass a petition around, but to me, I think the petition is premature if that's just a concern that she's making a bunch of noise. Turning around and making a petition doesn't necessarily stop her from making a bunch of noise.
Yeah, I got to dig into that. I'm not. Yeah, sometimes
there's a lot of stuff that is just kind of muddy there. I feel like we need to clean it up.
So we're talking, on the after show here a little bit. There's a little bit of like, you don't always take the bait.
Yeah.
Right.
Sometimes that stuff is bait, but I don't know where that pressure's coming from. Like you said, like if this is a serious thing where DEP has said something or DOT has said something.
That's why I want the information.
Yeah, like absolutely, that conversation needs to escalate quickly. And we can get it there, and we can.
And that's what the DEP said in that one Skyway meeting is they were trying to get all the stakeholders in the group, the Friends of Pelicans, the environmental groups, the fishermen, the Skyway Misfits. They were all trying to get us in a room to try to come to some commonsensical approach to, can we meet in the middle somewhere?
Right.
And that's apparently from that is DEP was just like, well, we'll just close the bridge if you guys can't agree.
Right.
But I don't remember that.
Yeah, I don't either. I remember a DEP representative being there, but I don't remember.
I don't remember them threatening. Well, if you guys can't agree, we're just going to close it.
In my memory, it wasn't like a decision maker. It was like someone there attending on behalf of DEP. That was
just taking notes.
Yeah, like she could comment on particular things she knew about, but she couldn't take a position or anything else. So
yeah, definitely have a lot of questions.
Yeah, but I will for sure dig into it. Like that, I'll put that on my list for this week.
And we're going to keep trying.
I've said it before, that pier is where I caught my first snook on my own.
Oh, really?
Like, it's very special to me to make sure that thing stays open.
That's cool.
Yeah, go ahead. Wrap it up.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll see you guys next week. Remember, Sunday night, tomorrow night, 7:30 p.m. Hopefully we'll see you guys tomorrow morning, too, 7 to 9. And don't forget, if you're too busy to go fishing, you're just too darn busy. Thanks for watching, y'all.
See you guys.
How do we end this? Had a brain fart.